Well, let's bring in William Ogborn. He's a global risk consultant and a former U.S. State Department diplomat. Thanks for being with us. As we were discussing, Pompeo, good to have you with us. Pompeo is calling for this global summit on Iran. He's pushing for a bigger diplomatic response. Now, we have an encouraging sign that the EU may be starting to grasp the threat of Iran here. The EU recently imposing some sanctions on Iran in response to the Netherlands, France and Denmark accusing Iran of some alleged and some successful killings on European soil. Can Pompeo get more diplomatic support given this development?
I think definitely he can get some support. If we see what he's doing in the region, he's trying to affirm our commitment to our allies and reaffirm our commitment also to making sure that Iran does not interfere with not only Syria, but also our allies, what they are doing and what they are trying to attempt to do in the region, and our relationship with those allies. And as what he's doing here in Poland is kind of getting the posse together to show Iran that we mean business, and not only do we mean business, but our regional partners in Western Europe, and he even talked about possibly inviting Russia, who has a very strong force there in Syria and allies in the region that can put pressure on Iran as well because of their relationship with Iran. And he's also looking at who in Africa we can put pressure on Iran to show we're serious, we're looking for diplomatic solutions, we're not just simply looking for hard power, kinetic military solutions. We're trying to find a way to show you that we are committed to making this region more stable and more safe.
William, the U.S. means business when it comes to Iran. Certainly no doubt about that, based on what we're hearing from Pompeo. The U.S. and Israel and the Arab allies agree and acknowledge that Iran is a huge threat. But is Europe getting that message? I mean, even with Iran spreading its tentacles and plotting and executing attacks on killings on European soil, and with Israel showing evidence that Iran has nuclear archives and atomic warehouses and developing and testing missiles, and of course, Iran's clear support for terrorist proxies, it still doesn't seem, though, to me at least, as though Europe and other countries regard Iran to be as big of a threat as the U.S. and Israel do. Why is that?
Well, part of the region is because they're making money with Iran, whether that's under the table or over the table. That's going on, and that's something that we are dealing with constantly and putting pressure on our allies to not make those kind of deals that wind up helping Iran, whether, we see it in their bottom line or it's kind of in that black market currency. So that's one thing that by bringing them all together in Poland is trying to kind of put the pressure on them publicly to start to deal with these things and not simply say, we don't really care, we don't think it's of issue, but then complain when the U.S. at the same time is talking about retrenchment, talking about how do we do this diplomatically instead of militarily, or how do we need to continue what we're doing militarily, and then hear the rest of Europe complaining, well, you're just giving up and you need to stay in the region and you need to do all the dirty work. We can't do what needs to be done in the region in a peaceful manner, much less a military manner, unless Europe goes along with us. And by putting that pressure on, by having a very public declaration and a public summit of here's where we need to stand and come together as a Western, unity, NATO, and then also with the Middle East and Africa, how we can all come together to put that pressure on, then we can finally really start making headway to making that so that Europe comes along with us.
But Europe still supports the Iran nuclear deal and is not backing the U.S. with sanctions against Iran. On the contrary, they're trying to counter those attempts. So what's it going to take to get Europe to change its mind and get on board?
It basically is going to have to be incentivized that they see that this current paradigm is no longer the paradigm that we are going to use. I should say the previous paradigm is no longer what we're going to use. They have to realize that the world isn't what we wish it were, it is what it actually is.
Yeah.
And what it actually is Iran was not living up to their end of the nuclear deal. And we cannot trust people like our countries like Iran, like North Korea, to just simply do what they say they're going to do when we know and we have proof that they continue to do the activities that allow them to nuclearize.
All right, William, thank you so much. William Ogborn. Still